Hello, my name is Sharonda Williams-Tack. I'm an Associate Director with National Sierra Club's Healthy Communities Campaign, and I'm based in Gaithersburg, Maryland. I'm going to pass it to my colleague, Brendan Pierpoint.
Hello, I'm Brendan Pierpont. I'm a senior analyst on our energy campaigns analyst team at the Sierra Club, and I'm based in Portland, Oregon. I will pass it to my colleague, Gustavo.
Hello, everybody. I'm Gustavo Angeles. I'm the Environmental Justice Program Coordinator for the Virginia chapter of Sierra Club based in Richmond, Virginia. Thank you. I'm going to pass it to Sharonda.
Great. Thanks, Gustavo. Thanks, everyone, for joining. So what is energy burden? Energy burden is a percentage of your household income that's allocated to your energy bills. Your energy burden can be considered low, high, or very high. If you're allocating more than 6% of your income to your energy bill, that's considered an unaffordable amount, and it's likely that you're foregoing key household necessities in order to pay your energy bill on time. The Sierra Club created this energy burden calculator so that more people could know what their energy burden was, what causes their high energy burden, and get access to resources and information from the federal government, their states, and utilities to help them pay their utility bills, and also to help them get access to energy efficiency and weatherization services that can make their homes more energy efficient and also help them reduce their energy bills and their energy burden. Now we're going to show you how to use the energy burden calculator. And also let folks know the energy burden calculator is now live on Sierra's website, and we have it in both English and Spanish, so folks can access this calculator and use it for themselves. So for our first scenario, we are going to look at an income qualified family of 4 that lives in the state of Alabama. And so we're going to input an annual household income of $28,000. And we're going to look at the state of Alabama. In Alabama, the average energy bill is $160 a month. We are going to increase that amount because this scenario is for a household that is energy inefficient. And so we're going to use $180 for the winter bill and $200 for the summer bill. And now we're going to calculate the energy burden. This family's energy burden is 8.1%, and that's considered a high energy burden. And let's compare this energy burden to the range in the state of Alabama. And so the lowest energy burden in Alabama is 0.7%. The average is 4.1%, and the highest is 14.5%. If we scroll down, we can learn about what does it mean to have a high energy burden. So having a high energy burden means that you are paying more than 6% of your income towards your energy costs, which is considered unaffordable. Because this family is income qualified, it's likely they're eligible to receive federal assistance, including the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program that can provide bill payment assistance, as well as the Federal Weatherization Assistance Program that can provide different assistance as far as weatherization, air sealing, insulation, in order to make the home more energy efficient. Now let's see what other resources are available in the state of Alabama. So we're not seeing many resources in addition to the federal resources I mentioned, but let's see what Alabama Power offers as far as lowering energy burden in the state. So Alabama Power offers a bill payment assistance program. I'm seeing more so programs for businesses, not so much for residents. If you scroll down further, this website is also referring back to the federal programs that I mentioned. And so we're not seeing a lot of state resources in Alabama. Alabama has one of the highest energy burdens in the country, and Birmingham, Alabama is one of the top 5 U.S. cities to have with high energy burden. I think if the state of Alabama invested more in low-income energy efficiency, and if Alabama Power, which is the largest utility in Alabama, also made investments in energy efficiency, we would see lower energy burden in the state of Alabama. I'm now going to pass it to my colleague, Brendan, to walk us through our next scenario.
Great, thank you, Sharonda. So I'm going to take us through another example of a low-income family in another state. And here we're going to assume a family of 4 that is, again, at this federal poverty level threshold of $28,000 per year. But this time we're going to go to Colorado instead of Alabama. Colorado is one of the states in the country with the lowest average energy bills and low energy burdens overall. And that's in part because of the state's prioritization of investments in energy efficiency. So in this case, because of Colorado's lower average energy expenditures, we're going to lower these average bill numbers to $120 in the winter and $100 in the summer. And we'll calculate the energy burden of this family. So the energy burden for this household is 4.7%. This is below that 6% threshold for what's generally considered a high energy burden, but it is above the average for the state of Colorado, which was 2%. And you can see on here the range of energy burden for the community with the lowest energy burden is roughly 0.5% of income spent on energy bills, and the community with the highest energy burden has an average of 9.2% of income spent on energy bills on average. So let's scroll down a little further to see what the programs that are available to customers that are experiencing high energy burdens in Colorado. As was the case in Alabama, the Coloradans can access a number of the federal programs for low-income customers. But one that I wanted to bring our attention to here is a program Colorado has called the Colorado Affordable Residential Energy Program, or CARE. And this CARE program is a low-income energy efficiency program where low-income households can receive free energy efficiency upgrades, energy audits, energy efficient appliances or insulation or air sealing, many different things that can help make a home more energy efficient, lower energy bills, and more comfortable in the process as well. And with that, I will turn it back to Sharonda for another example.
Great, thanks, Brendan. So now we're going to look at an income qualified family in Alabama again, but in this case, we're going to look at a family that has very high energy bills. So we're actually going to increase the household income to $30,000 a year. And I've actually been in a lot of community conversations recently with Alabama residents in living communities that experience very high energy burden. And they've told me that many of their neighbors pay $600 a month on their energy bills. They don't know many people that pay lower than that. And so we're going to include $600 a month for the summer bill, actually. And then $400 for the winter bill. And before we calculate, in Alabama, because of climate change, we are seeing much hotter summers. People are running their ACs way more, so they're using more energy. Many people are not running their ACs and just suffering in the heat because they're really afraid of how high their bills can get, whether they can afford them. Now let's calculate this person's energy burden. So this family's energy burden is 20%. They're allocating 20% of their income towards their energy bill. That burden is way higher than what we're seeing, the highest average, which is 14.5%. So if we scroll down, we can see, what does it mean to have a very high energy burden? So in this case, there's no longer a likelihood of someone having to forego key household necessities. They're having to do that on a daily basis. They're having to make decisions about whether they am I not taking my medicine because I can't afford to pay for my medicine, and also make sure that my utilities stay on. Am I only buying enough family to make sure that my kids are fed? And so am I not eating? And just having to forego other things. So in addition to this family likely being eligible for the low-income home energy assistance program, as well as the federal weatherization assistance program. There's also the state emergency relief program that is in place to provide assistance when people are in energy-related crises. And so when you're really at risk for having your utility shut off, this is another program that these families can access. And I'm now going to pass it to my colleague Gustavo to walk us through our final scenario.
Thank you very much, Sharonda. I'm going to show you a different scenario now. We're going to go to another state, and I'm going to show you a low energy burden case. We're going to go to Maryland now. And for income, for annual income, we're going to choose $150,000. And for gas and electric bills, we're going to choose $200 for the winter and $200 for the summer. And we're going to see what are the results now. As you can see, for this case is a low energy burden, 1.6%, right? So what this means, as the previous cases, you were seeing 10, 15, 20%, really high, right? If we put this in perspective for a family that is making $150,000, if this family will be paying between 6 and 10%, will be between $9,000 and $15,000 annually in energy. That's a lot of money. But if you are in this category that you are paying your energy burden is low, you might want to think about other things that you can start doing. For example, you can start thinking, if you're able to afford it, you can start thinking about solar panels, right? If we scroll down the page, you're going to see that there are some things that they are offering for these families that are able to afford. There is a link there for energy grants and rebates. So that will allow you to perhaps put access solar panels. If you think about, again, what I was mentioning between the 6 and 10%, between $9,000 and $15,000, that's an amount of money that will let you easily put solar panels in your house, right? Or think about when you're changing some of the heating options in your house, put a water pump and things like that. But because the idea here is to reduce our energy waste, right? Regardless how low or high is your energy burden. There is also, you can access weatherization and try to become more energy efficiency, right? Accessing to these programs like solar, for example, right? As I said, there is different loans and other opportunities available for families that are able to afford this. And in the long term, this will generate that more people are trying to have different sources of energy that will reduce the pollution in general for everybody. And with this use, also the cost of the energy, these other options for energy will start lowering for everybody. And with this, I will pass it again to Sharonda, just in case to answer some of the questions that the public has. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Gustavo. So I know we had some questions that came up on registration, but I've also seen there are a couple of questions in the comments. I know a couple of folks are asking, where can I find this calculator? And so we can include the link here for folks. There we go. And like I said before, this calculator is available. It's bilingual. It's available in both English and Spanish. So I saw someone in the chat was asking, is energy burden available for Puerto Rico? And it is. We have Puerto Rico data within the calculator, so you can use it for your work in Puerto Rico. And like we said, it's bilingual. Let's see, questions in the chat. I see one that says, what does Sierra Club have to say about how countries with significantly higher energy bills correlates with the amount of wind, solar installed? Germany and Denmark have the highest energy bills compared to places such as France, mostly nuclear. I might pass that question to Gustavo or Brendan. I don't do a lot of work internationally. I mean, I know the biggest thing we're looking at for energy burden is just saving on energy. Just the low-hanging fruit really is energy efficiency, the fact that people are just wasting energy. And so, of course, we want to be investing more renewables and looking at that, but as far as energy burden, it's really how are we just saving energy and just making sure that people's homes are just more energy efficient. Also a question here about a calculator that shows how I'm contributing to climate change. I believe I have seen carbon footprint calculators. They are out there. So I would just do a quick web search and you'll probably find a calculator that shows you how much you're contributing to climate change and how you can reduce your carbon footprint. I don't know if we want to take those questions that we saw in the registration. So I'll take this one question. A question was, is Sierra Club encouraging apartment property owners to invest in energy-saving appliances so that old, aging-in-place items like washers, dryers, refrigerators, ovens, stovetops, and microwaves will be replaced with energy-efficient items? Yes, we are doing that. Sierra Club regularly intervenes in energy efficiency filings, and we're always advocating for utilities to make sure that they're really investing in their multifamily energy efficiency programs. And so a lot of that, of course, is convincing landlords to participate in these programs, making sure that we're making it easy for them, that we're giving them no cost appliances to use in their buildings. Unfortunately, you have some landlords that don't care to take advantage of these resources, and utilities, unfortunately, can't force them to do so. But we're seeing a number of states that are making great strides when it comes to really ensuring that landlords are making their apartments more energy efficient. So we're looking to those states to really foster advocacy. We know that high energy burden is particularly a problem when it comes to renters, partly because they have not a lot of control over making their home more energy efficient. They're really dependent on the whims of their landlords. And so that's something we're actively working on. Thanks for that question. The next question is, I had a new furnace installed last month. Will this energy burden calculator help me calculate how much it's saving me? Do you mind taking that question, Gustavo?
Not at all. So the general idea of this calculator is to give you a general sense of how much of your income you are using to pay in energy, or you're expending in energy. We are using this income in general to get you a sense, because energy is something that you cannot chop around like you do for gas, perhaps, or for the price of groceries. And we want to give everybody a sense on what it means when I pay the energy bill, that usually people either are able to afford it or they are not able to afford it. And if you're not able to afford it, you might start making personal sacrifices, or your family postponing buying perhaps medicines or other things that you might need in order to be able to afford to pay for energy. So while it won't tell you specifically how much you're saving or not when you install a new device in your house, like a furnace, it will give you a general idea of how much in your household with your family you are expending or not in energy.
And I'm sure if you look at your energy bill, hopefully you'll see an impact in coming months and see that you are saving your energy. And when you then go to recalculate your energy burden, I'm sure you'll find that it's much lower. Another question we have is, why is this tied to only household income and not already instituted behavioral changes? Especially when it comes to households suffering high energy burden, there has been countless research studies that have been done to show that behavioral changes are not the reason that these people are experiencing high energy burden. It's really the fact that there are some real structural issues that are happening with their homes that are making them very energy efficient. So that's where we're really focusing on income. We know that poverty is a large part of why people experience energy burden. And you can turn off your lights a bit more, you can close the fridge more, but if you're just leaking cold air out of your roof and out your door, that's really what's impacting your energy burden. I see some questions in the chat. Energy efficiency is great and leads to saving money. Does the calculator take into account that people usually spend these savings in places that are carbon intensive? For example, buying items online and going on vacation. I would say no, because the calculator is only looking at your household income and then what your average winter bill and summer bill is. It's not actually looking at what people are spending on other items in their home.
Yeah, I would add to that that households that experience high levels of energy burden or even moderate levels of energy burden are usually not making trade-offs between paying their energy bill and going on a fancy vacation. They're making trade-offs between what food do they buy, what medical expenses do they pay, and do they pay their energy bill. And I think it's really important to for this tool to be able to highlight the high energy burden that some households experience, or your household might be experiencing. So that's really our intent with this tool.
And the next question is how do smart meters figure into this? And should I worry? And should I worry about EMF? I'm actually not sure what the acronym stands for. My colleagues might be able to help me with that, or that person can let us know what that stands for.
I don't know if they're referring to electromagnetic fields. Some people associate, and there is some research being done for these smart meters and the radiation they emit and the potentials to cause some diseases such as cancer. This calculator, again, is just to see how much you are spending on energy from your income, and to make you to be aware and to compare with the average on your city or county. And if you're spending more than the average, perhaps there are some things that you should try to do in order to reduce that cost. If you are not able to afford those, the calculator at the bottom of the web page is going to give you some links to some opportunities that are in your state, to some programs that are available there to try to get or do window replacement or other things like that will lower your energy. But that's the main purpose of this, is just to be aware and see what you can do in order to reduce that cost to the maximum possible.
And many folks just aren't actually aware of the resources that are available, that are out there. I mean, in addition to folks who are qualified, that may not know about resources, are also, like Gustavo said in his example, tons of rebates, loans, incentives, other ways that you can make sure that you're reducing your energy and that you're just more aware of how much you're spending on energy. That looks like that might be it for questions, unless anyone else wants to put something else in the chat.
And just a reminder for everybody that might not be seeing this live, that if you have any questions, you can put it still on the comments. We will be checking those comments later, just in case I'm a way to reach you out, so to try to answer your questions or put you in contact with somebody.
So you can put your comments on the Facebook Live link, and it'll also be available on YouTube. And you can post comments there, and we'll be looking for comments so we can answer folks' questions. So I'm going to lead us out. I'm going to speak a bit about some of the work that Sierra Club is currently doing on energy burden. So Sierra Club is working in a number of states with our partners to provide education on energy burden to impacted community members, utilities, as well as public service commissions. We've been actively advocating for utilities and commissions to invest more in low-income energy efficiency, low-income electrification, health and safety funding and weatherization, and making sure we're targeting that to energy burden customers within their service territory. We're doing this work in a number of states, including Connecticut, Massachusetts, Michigan, Wisconsin, Missouri, Florida, and Kansas, just to name a few. We've been doing this work for the longest in the state of Michigan. And because of that, we have seen a lot of great change in the state of Michigan. We've gotten the two major utilities in that state, DT Energy and Consumers Energy, to create programs that target low-income energy efficiency, health and safety funds, and weatherization to their most energy burdened customers within their service territory. We also just included a 2-year initiative with the utility that targeted energy efficiency to their customers that were suffering from high utility debt or at risk of shutoff. We're able to help over 1,200 families, mostly families living in the state of Detroit. So we're really proud of that work, and we want to make sure that we're expanding that and working with our members and volunteers in order to do that work. So before we conclude, I'm asking folks to share. Share this calculator with everyone you know. Share it with your mother-in-law, your cousin, your neighbor, your coworker. Everyone should have an idea of how much their income is going towards their energy bills. This amount shouldn't be high. And so if it is high, you should find out, what the causes are and be able to put things in place in order to lower your energy burden. If we can lower our energy burdens, we just have more disposable income that you can invest in your education, if you want to start a small business, go on a family vacation, but also have more generational wealth in order to pass on to your family. And for folks that are suffering from high or very high energy burden, it's really important for them to know how high their energy burden is, and to know that there are resources out there to help them lower their energy bills, make their homes more comfortable, and to lower their energy burden. Thank you so much for joining us.